Mercedes F1 George Russell is accusing Red Bull of cheating again, and FIA and Horner respond to these claims. So we're going to be going through that in today's video, but make sure you like this video, and don't forget, if you do want more F1 Mercedes content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. But let's get straight into today's story. So George Russell appears to accuse Red Bull and Ferrari of cheating, but Horner denies claims. George Russell missed out on his first F1 win at the Hungarian Grand Prix, despite starting on pole position. George Russell seemed to accuse Red Bull of Ferrari of breaking Formula One rules moments after securing a podium at the Hungarian Grand Prix. The Mercedes stars claimed Red Bull and Ferrari had pushed the regulations over their floor designs, which may have given them an advantage. The FIA will crack down on flexible floors from the Belgian Grand Prix as part of a technical directive aimed at reducing porpoising. Russell called out his rivals after being asked if the new flexi floor rules could bring Mercedes closer to the pack. He said, "Spa is going to be interesting. There is some changes to some of the regulations which may bring other teams towards us. I think we as a team have a lot of confidence in ourselves and faith that we are doing a great job, and there's no reason we can't be in the mix. There is no doubt Ferrari and Red Bull have pushed the regulations in that regard, and we have respected it as the regulation was intended." So I think it is honestly fantastic to hear, how great George Russell did, but he was a bit disappointed that he didn't end up getting first place or P1 in the actual race. So the FIA will strengthen their flexible floor tests for Spa to ensure that there is a level playing field among teams, but it's believed the new checks will prevent teams from exploiting gray areas to gain performance. Now, I wouldn't really call what the other teams are doing as cheating, but I do see where George Russell is coming from at the same time. So despite calling out Mercedes' two rivals, Russell admitted the changes may not have an effect on the pecking order. He added, "There's no guarantee that it would bring them closer to us. We know if it was our car, it would make us slower. There's no guarantees, every car is different, but it's not going to help them, that's for sure." Sky Sports host actually appeared shocked at Russell's comments, and he believes Russell's remarks are the first time anyone has openly accused Red Bull and Ferrari of having pushed the envelope in regards to the floors. So, however, Horner denied any wrongdoing as he claimed the changes would not impact the team's race. Instead, he used the opportunity to hit back at the FIA as he stressed teams needed an urgent update on the regulation changes for next season. He claimed, "Ferrari still has a quick car and Mercedes are coming back at us. Maybe we don't need to TD in Spa." So I do see where Horner is coming from as well when it comes to all of this, and the FIA, I gotta admit, haven't really been doing their job as great as I thought they would so far this season. They could really turn it up a notch and really help out when it's needed and give direction to all these teams, whether it's Mercedes, whether it's Red Bull, or whether it's Ferrari. The technical directive has no effect on us. We need quick clarification on what the rules are for 2023. I hope as early as this week. It's 10 past midnight for next year, and Cinderella has already left. Now, on top of this, Lewis Hamilton is confused that Max Verstappen laughs at Ferrari Hungary woes in private talks. So Lewis Hamilton was back in the podium cool-down room after picking up P2 at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Lewis Hamilton was left puzzled while Max Verstappen and George Russell laughed at Ferrari's strategy during secret talks after the Hungarian Grand Prix. All three drivers appeared shocked at Ferrari's decision to switch to the hard tires as they discussed the strategy call moments after the checkered flag. While watching coverage of the race in the post-race cooldown room, Hamilton appeared baffled at Ferrari's call to switch to the slowest compound tire. In a puzzled tone, the seven-time world champion said Ferraris were on the hards. Verstappen and Russell laughed out loud, with the Dutchman simply responding yes. Ferrari put Charles Leclerc on the hard tires for his third stint in a decision which dramatically backfired. The Monegasque of having no pace on the compound and lost the lead to Verstappen within just a handful of laps. Even a brief spin of Dutchman couldn't stop his momentum on the podium tires, and Leclerc was just a passenger as the Red Bull star passed a second time. He fell away from contention within the laps and even dropped behind Russell into third moments later. So it was interesting to see how this all actually played out. No one really knew what Ferrari was doing, and you can definitely see that from these F1 drivers when it comes to Russell, Verstappen, and also Hamilton, also questioning themselves on what was actually going on. So Mercedes boss Toto Wolff says the overhauling Ferrari to finish second in the Formula One World Championships this year matters less than getting back to winning ways later this season. The German manufacturer appears to have turned the corner on its early campaign troubles as it's bagged a second double podium finish in a row at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton recovered from a DRS failure in qualifying to take in second successive second place finish, while George Russell completed the podium after starting from pole, with Ferrari enduring another torrid afternoon as title contenders Charles Leclerc slumped to 6th and Carlos Sainz finished 4th. Mercedes has closed to within 30 points of its Italian rivals in the Constructors' Championship. Based on its current trajectory, Mercedes has a good chance to overhaul Ferrari and finish right behind Red Bull this season, but Wolff says that such a feat is not much of interest. Instead, that of a greater importance of him is the ability for Mercedes to take another performance step and start delivering race wins on pace. Second, first loser, he said. He was asked about the chances of now beating Ferrari this season. For me personally, whether second or third in the Constructors' World Championship, it is not so relevant compared to really racing and being at the front and developing the car so we can win races on merit. Beat the Ferraris, beat the Red Bull, and prepare for next year rather than really care about championship position. So, Hamilton's runner-up position at the Hungarian Grand Prix means that he has now finished on the podium more times than early championship favorite Leclerc, showing the level of progress that Mercedes has made. But Wolff again says being among the front runners is not something that his team wants, it is about being in front. I would have rather had more wins and less podiums, he said. We are humbled, but we are striving for race victories rather than second and third. But if they are on merit like today, then it is a good step forward. Wolff reckoned that beyond the Hungary result, the amount of understanding it has taken away from its topsy-turvy weekend will be helpful in pushing in towards over the second half of the campaign. It was a difficult weekend overall because the suffering of Friday was just big when we didn't really know which direction to look at, he added. Maybe getting it so wrong on Fridays was helpful in getting it very right, almost completely right on Saturday. I think we have a lot of data to look at, a lot of positiveness from the last weekend in France and here, and that we can build on here from the second half for the season. And I really do agree with this, guys. I think Mercedes have really turned it around in case of, what they have done when it comes to the car, the upgrades they have made, and also, really communicating with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell to really bring forth the best car possible. And I think it is honestly fantastic to see how they have come back and where they continue to go. So Wolff also says the DRS problem in Hungary cost unbelievable Hamilton chance of first win of the year, and I do highly agree with this. Mercedes scored their second double podium finish in a row like we talked about, with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell finishing second and third, and while qualifying saw Russell put him in a stunning lap to seal his first pole position in Formula 1, Hamilton was forced to settle for 7th after the rear wing problem curtailed his final run in Q3. But the 7-time world champion recovered brilliantly in the race, overtaking Ferrari's Carlos Sainz and then his teammate in the final stint to steal second place. Now, I think this was very impressive from him. I think Lewis Hamilton did a great job in keeping his composure, and for him to actually finish second, I think is honestly great. And I think he honestly still has it in him to become a great driver, even as he does get older. So his 5th podium finish in a row, with Russell following him in 3rd, leaving Mercedes boss Wolff very impressed. First of all, one must say that George had a great qualifying session with pole and drove a super solid race, said Wolff. And he was always in that fight, so he was utilizing the tires, leaning on it a lot, and he ran out of tires in the second stint, but there Lewis was unbelievable. He was a little bit in the shadow, no one really looked at him where he came from, and suddenly he was banging in times quicker than the leaders. If qualifying, I think he hadn't failed the DRS yesterday, who knows, I think we'd have a fun fight at the front for the victory. And I do completely agree with this. I think Lewis Hamilton could have definitely taken this race. I think Mercedes cars really does flourish in a race such as the Hungarian Grand Prix, and you definitely saw that he was very close to Verstappen, and there wasn't really too much leeway or too much distance between them. So I think if Lewis Hamilton was given the pole position, if his DRS didn't stuff up, I really do see him winning this race and winning this Grand Prix. In the last 5 races, Mercedes have scored 135 points, with only Red Bull's 139 points bettering the Silver Arrows total. And when asked if Mercedes have now put themselves in a position to consistently challenge for victories after the summer break, Wolff said that while that is an aim, his team must stay humble. I think we need to stay humble, look race weekend after race weekend, and try to learn and do the experiment, said Wolff. It's a long shot for championship this year, so in a way we are in a situation where we can try stuff, which we've done on Friday, as frustrating as it is sometimes, and then see. To put us in a situation where we can fight for wins at the end of the season. We've got used to the Spa weather now in Budapest. At least we have a result we can work with. We had a really bad Friday, so we know what not to do. We do the opposite, but Spa is really different. Let's not celebrate yet. We are there because we aren't yet. So I think he does make a really good point. I love how Mercedes is really keeping at it on what they are trying to achieve with this whole thing, and they are going to really push as much as they can to get to that second spot position. Now I know, like I've said before, Toto Wolff, it really isn't his forte to actually come second because they're only the first to lose, but I think he just wants to see his team become successful and continue to push for wins as time goes on. And I think that is fantastic. Great leader, and George Russell and Lewis Hamilton can definitely get it done. I really don't see them stuffing up or doing any big mistakes. I think they are capable of bringing it back, and with Ferrari continuing to do what they're doing, where they're not really making the best decisions, they continue to stuff up here and there. I do see Mercedes taking that second spot and being just behind Red Bull. So as you all know, the Hungarian Grand Prix did pass, and there were some key interviews. So Lewis Hamilton actually said this on the day: "I was struggling at the beginning of the race and wasn't sure whether I'd be able to catch up, so I'm happy I was able to recover from P7. I had a good start, which was crucial, and bit by bit I felt more comfortable with the balance of the car. The cooler temperatures in qualifying and the race seemed to have worked well for us. We made a massive step from Friday and I'm very grateful for it. If the DRS had been working yesterday, we could have been in the run for the win. I want to acknowledge my team, who have continued to push and has never given up through this tough year." So I think it is honestly fantastic to see Mercedes and also Lewis Hamilton really give his all for this team, and also George Russell as well. So they do have an exciting season coming up for the second half. I think it is going to be interesting, and I do have complete confidence that Mercedes are going to pull this off. So guys, let me know down in the comments what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Peace.